Welcome to Mornings with Ken Rosato. Today is Thursday, April 9th, 2026. We'll take your calls at 888-658-0234. To kick things off, meteorologist Mike Favetta has the forecast near you.
This weather is brought to you by Audio Nova, your hearing experts, serving all of New Jersey with 13 locations.
All right, Mike, it's chilly in the Northeast, but nice in the Southwest. I see 66 in Los Angeles, but still 34 in the Northeast.
There's frost outside. What is going on? I know. First week of April, have frost on the rooftops, on the grass. It's a little bit chilly this morning. And I hope you brought the indoor plants in because there was a hard freeze again across New Jersey from north to south, even though that freeze warning only lasts across southern parts of New Jersey because that's where the growing area begins. We'll talk about that in just a minute, but the clear sky, the calm air, and very still winds allowed for that frost to develop this morning. And with that, we keep a little bit of cloud cover around really at the shoreline this morning. Into the afternoon, all of New Jersey enjoys the nice clearing, and then later on tonight we get another round of cloud cover early on tomorrow morning. That lifts by tomorrow afternoon, and we're back to sunshine, but warming up nicely tomorrow. I think we'll be back in the 70s across most of the state. As far as tomorrow night, a couple of clouds roll back in with maybe a few sprinkles. The front really dries out by the time it reaches us, but we're back to beautiful weather this upcoming weekend, and we stay sunny and warm right throughout our Saturday and Sunday. It won't be the case out west as some wet conditions roll in along the west coast, but yes, Ken, like you had mentioned, it's also warm out west with temperatures 15 degrees above average, extending all the way back into the San Bernardino Valley. So some pretty warm weather continues there as some storms shape up across the middle of the country. This is actually our cold front that arrives for later on tomorrow night into early Saturday morning, but clears out just in time for a beautiful weekend here in New Jersey. We'll tell you more about that coming up with a check of your week forecast in a few minutes.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. We check traffic right now, and what we have is a disabled vehicle on 280, and that's on 280 eastbound west of exit 4 Eisenhower Parkway in Roseland. The right lane of 2 lanes closed. We have some unanticipated construction delays. I love that. That's another way of saying, oops, there's like a hole that just opened up in the roadway, but unanticipated construction delays, and that is on 295 southbound at exit 11, Route 322 in Logan Township. The right shoulder is closed. Overturned dump truck on 1 and 9 southbound at Lawrence Street in Rahway. The ramp lane is closed, and still have those roving pothole repairs. When are they going to finish the pothole repairs? That's on the Commodore Barry Bridge between Pennsylvania and New Jersey. Just beware of that. Your Hudson River crossings, Lincoln and Holland, not too bad right now, only 15 to 20 each. GWB upper and lower levels, take a look at this. Not bad at all for this hour. Upper level on the right, lower level on the left. We're talking only 10 minutes into Manhattan via the GWB. That is a good deal. Over to the West Coast we go. We have a traffic collision, no injuries reported. East LA on the 710 at Rosecrans Avenue. Missing elderly person. This is a silver alert. Remember, it's only 4:04 in the morning West Coast time, so if you see an elderly person wandering, please call police. Don't approach the person. It might frighten them. So just call police. Keep an eye on the person until police can arrive. This is missing elderly person in Altadena, so just beware of that. There is a fatality on the roadway reported in central LA at the 101 and US Gower Street. Just beware of that as well. 4 minutes past the hour, President Trump has agreed to a 2-week ceasefire with Iran. He did that on Tuesday. However, the Iranians threatened to end that ceasefire and once again shut down the Strait of Hormuz after Israel targeted attacks on Hezbollah terrorists in Lebanon. This happened yesterday. The administration said that Israel's fight with Hezbollah was never part of the ceasefire deal and warned Iran to keep their word. Meanwhile, the Trump administration is considering a plan to punish certain NATO allies that refused assistance to the U.S. during the Iran mission. The proposal would shift U.S. forces out of some NATO member states and move them to countries that supported the United States. So what has this done to oil prices? They have plunged, actually, dropped sharply. Global stock markets surged after Tuesday's ceasefire announcement. The Dow jumped nearly 3%. Word that the Strait of Hormuz would be reopened eased fears over global oil supply disruptions. American journalist Shelley Kittleson was released after being held by terrorists in Baghdad since March 31st. The Iran-linked group Kataib Hezbollah claimed responsibility. The kidnapping was captured on video showing her being forced into a car in broad daylight. Well, if you have a son who is approaching the age of 18 come December, he will automatically be registered into the military draft pool. The Selective Service System requested a rule change last week. Most men between the ages of 18 and 25 are currently required to go by themselves and register with the Selective Service. That's what I did when I was 18. You went to the post office, filled out a card, you had to hand it in. But automatic registration is now mandated. That happened back in December as part of the National Defense Authorization Act. By the way, the U.S. has not had a draft per se since the Vietnam War. Failure to register is considered a crime with stiff penalties, and immigrants who do not register may lose their U.S. citizenship if they were granted a naturalization. Women, by the way, are still ineligible for the draft, even though many want to take part. The Artemis II astronauts are capturing the future of human spaceflight on their phones. 58 years ago, Apollo 8 astronauts photographed the famous Earthrise image using a manual camera. Yeah, they had to actually set the settings, the f-stop, and the speed of the shutter. Well, this image of our pale blue dot, as astronomer Carl Sagan would refer to Earth, forever changed humanity's relationship with space. Remember Carl Sagan? He would say billions and billions. He was an amazing astronomer. Well, today, astronauts are seeing Earth from space through a whole new lens. Their iPhones. The Orion spacecraft is now headed back to Earth. The astronauts are expected to splash down in the Pacific Ocean just past 8 Eastern time tomorrow evening. That'll be just after 5 o'clock, of course, Pacific time. So they'll still be light as they splash down into the ocean. But you can rest assured that there will be many celebrations across the country for their homecoming. 7 minutes past the hour, the homeless man who's accused of slashing the throat of 23-year-old Ukrainian refugee Irina Zarutska on a Charlotte flight. He had been found, or I should say a Charlotte light rail train, had been found incompetent to stand trial by a North Carolina hospital. DeCarlos Brown Jr. is being held on state murder charges. It is now up to a judge to decide whether to accept that hospital's diagnosis. Now, the prosecution can order that he go to a different hospital. The judge can toss out that diagnosis altogether, or they can accept it and throw out the trial. Brown is also facing federal charges, however, so either way, even if the state charges are thrown out, he would remain in custody on the federal case. Well, a drug dealer known as the Ketamine Queen faces sentencing for supplying drugs linked to Matthew Perry's 2023 death. Prosecutors are asking for a 15-year sentence. Doctors say that Perry died after he took ketamine and passed out in his hot tub, causing him to drown. Ketamine suppresses the central nervous system. So that means even if you were to wake up after being high on ketamine, you wouldn't have body function. You couldn't push yourself up. So he literally slid into the water of his hot tub, and there was nothing he could do. He couldn't even help himself out at that point. The defendant admitted to supplying the star with a large amount of ketamine. Others involved in the case have also pleaded guilty. They are now awaiting sentencing. Our time is 9 minutes past 7 o'clock, and this March was the warmest month in 132 years for the continental U.S. That according to NOAA. Average temperatures were 9.35 degrees Fahrenheit above the 20th century norm, and that breaks the previous record set back in 2012. A potential super El Nino could drive global temperatures even higher in the coming year. We will talk with our meteorologist, Mike Favetta, about that and what that could mean for the upcoming hurricane season and beyond. But nonetheless, something to keep an eye on to see global temperatures rising by that amount. 10 minutes past the hour. It is not typically what you'd find at a wake. See, two women who discovered that they were both dating the deceased, they found that at the wake, they got into a fight over the deceased's body, the body of their late lover. Well, it happened in Veracruz, Mexico. One of the women was heard whispering to the top of the coffin, "My love, I'm going to miss you." Well, that caused the other woman to say, "What'd you say?" And they got into a little discussion. The viral clip captured the pair shoving each other over the coffin, even causing the lid of the coffin to pop open as onlookers started to shout. A person dressed in black eventually stepped in and broke up the fight. You can imagine, though, that This is going to be a memorable one. You may not want to have secrets, or if you do have secrets, you might want to make sure you definitely take them to the grave with you. It is now 11 minutes past the hour. When we return, meteorologist Mike Favetta will return with your full forecast. Another chilly one in the Northeast, but don't worry about it. It's going to be warming up soon enough. Southwest, really nice. And of course, in our South Florida area, the newest member of the viewing area for the state of Florida with on LACA, the temperatures are going to be in the mid 70s until this afternoon. Plus, we're taking your calls. The number's 888 658 0234. 888 658 0234. You're watching Mornings with Ken Rosato. We're live on the East Coast and the West Coast. Again, on LACA.com on the West Coast. Also in Florida on onfla.com. We hope you join us on the regional channels as well as ONNJ. 12 minutes past the hour. We're back in 2 minutes. Don't go away. Welcome back to Mornings with Ken Rosato for your Thursday live in New Jersey and New York. And now we welcome our good friends in Los Angeles and South Florida at 15 minutes past the hour. We'll take your calls at 888 658 0234. 888 658 0234. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the forecast near you.
This weather is brought to you by Audio Nova, your hearing experts, serving all of New Jersey with 13 locations.
All right, Mr. Mike. So we are once again looking at chilly temperatures. Thankfully, I still have plants in the garage. I took them in
Yeah,
because we saw that yesterday was going to be so
we,
cold. And
that's
I
right.
can't believe it's still this chilly. 30 degrees in
I know.
Trenton, and
I
it's
know.
34 in northern New Jersey.
Well, we get one more night of cold for some parts of New Jersey, especially the northern half, and then you can finally put the plants back outside and leave them there, at least through next week with very mild weather on the way. You know, speaking of the weather in South Florida, it will be nicer this weekend across New Jersey than South Florida because Florida has been dealing with several days of rain that's provided at least 6 inches to some areas of the state, the Sunshine State that is, over the last week. Here in New Jersey, it's been a drier, even though slightly cooler trend, but the warm up is on the way. Places out west have been enjoying the warm weather, but that comes to an end with some rain moving in this weekend along the west coast. And tomorrow, a lot of that warmth spreads eastward Yes, even across points of the Northeast going into this weekend. So lovely weather headed in our direction after that cool trend. You look across the country and you see all of those showers and clouds down across Florida. We here in New Jersey enjoy the clear sky, as does the case for much of the East Coast, even through the weekend. After a little weak front passes through, we get lovely weather that sets up for Saturday and Sunday. But parts of California have more rain with the next weather system moving in across the western half of the U.S., especially along the California coast, and that likely lasts into Monday, so a pretty gray weekend shaping up there. For the Northeast, the futurecast shows plenty of clear sky again today, maybe a few passing clouds tomorrow with that front approaching, but it's back to dry, beautiful sunshine, and warm weather by Saturday, and even going into Sunday, a few passing clouds. Even though the temperature reads cooler today, it's the sunshine that you would typically get in, say, late August, because that's the sun angle. It's so high. So standing in the sun is actually quite warm, even though the air temperature when you stand in the shade, because that's where air temperature is measured in the shade, feels rather cool. So again, most of the country featuring the dry weather, with the exception of the Midwest. That's our front that comes through by tomorrow night. We've got another check of your forecast, Ken, coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, sir. We will be checking it out. Appreciate it. And by the way, we should mention Mike and I are going on an excursion tonight. Are we allowed to talk about it?
Sure.
So, Mike, just so you know, do you know how much I know about hockey?
Well, I
I
thought
could
there were
build an
4 periods,
iPhone.
so that's
I could
so
build
maybe
an
you might be ahead
iPhone.
of the game.
Yeah, I could build an iPhone. So Pam, our director, is a hockey queen. She knows everything about
Yeah.
hockey. So what I'm going
Mm-hmm.
to do is I'm going to have her on speed dial.
Oh, that's a
And
great
tonight,
idea.
oh, let's clarify. We're going to a Devils game. I say we're going to the game. We're going to hang out in the one of the VIP boxes we got invited to. Right? You got it. You set it up. Mike pulled his strings and got us there. So we're going to show up and act like we know about hockey. Isn't that the basketball down there?
Oh boy, this will be fun tonight. Can't wait.
Yeah, it will be. As long as I could get good food. I'm sure they have great food in the
I'm
box.
sure they do. Yeah.
All
Looking
right, but
forward
we
to
will
it.
check in with Pam. Pam knows all about it, so we will have her on speed dial and we'll ask her what it is. You know what I feel bad about though? There are genuine hockey fans who would die to be in that VIP box, and we're up there
This
and
is
we're
true.
like saying, "Where's the football? Where's the football?" Anyway,
Wait, third period.
anyway,
What is there another intermission? Like I thought there's 4 periods.
it's
That
like
was
people
actually me
have
back in
never
high school.
been. It's like people who've never been to a football game and their first game is like at the 50-yard line of the Super Bowl. And they're like, "Oh, this is kind of nice." Anyway, all right, Michael. Thanks to you, though. Thanks to you for getting us there. I appreciate it, buddy. We'll
You
check
bet.
back a little bit later. Thank you. It is. I know people are upset. Pam, our director, is upset. 32 degrees right now, northern New Jersey. 30 degrees in Trenton. It is 31 in Cape May. West Coast. We look at Los Angeles. It is 64 degrees now in Southern California, and 65 degrees actually in down in San Diego. So Los Angeles 64, San Diego 65, 74 degrees in South Florida at our channel on FLA. All right, we look at some traffic issues right now. 295 has unanticipated construction delays southbound at exit 11, Route 322, Logan Township. The ramp lane right there in the right shoulder are closed. There are pothole repairs at the Commodore Barry Bridge, and that is westbound, pardon me, from the New Jersey side in Logan Township to the Pennsylvania side, and that is in Chester. Two left lanes are now closed. As a result, speed limit is now down to 25 miles an hour. Uh, if you are headed to any of the area airports to catch a flight, just understand that because it is spring break and holidays, of course, we just got off of many of the major airport parking lots are at full capacity. So if you go there to park your car, if you drive there, you want to park your car in long term, the long term lots are all packed. So you're going to have to make sure you reserve a space before you get there. Look at the Hudson River crossings. Lincoln and Holland both reporting 10 to 15 minutes. Very light. GWB, not much worse. Check this out. The upper level is on the right, lower level is on the left. Both are actually very light right now, only about 10 minutes into Manhattan. We look at the West Coast, and we have a traffic collision reported on or in East LA at the 710 and Rosecrans. There is a missing elderly person. Silver alert, pardon me, in Altadena. If you happen to see, it's a woman. Frances Priest is the name. So if you see a woman wandering by herself at this early hour, only 4:20 in the morning in central LA, please call police about that and let them know. And there is a another accident reported here. This is Santa Fe Springs on the 60 at 7th Avenue. It is 20 minutes past the hour, and colorectal cancer is now the leading cause of cancer deaths in adults under 50. Yet it's one of the most preventable with proper screening. This past March, New Jersey resident Mike Van Raphorst was being honored on a national stage at the Cologuard Classic, a PGA Tour Champions event that brings together hundreds of patients, survivors, and advocates. After he was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer at just the age of 41, Mike is now more than 5 years cancer free, thank goodness. And we say good morning to Mike.
Morning, Ken. Thank you so much for having me today. I really appreciate being on.
Well, great to have you on. And first off, congratulations on being a survivor more than 5 years. That's a great achievement. And it must be very frustrating knowing that if only, right? If only I had done early screening, if only. Take us back to 2019. What were the first signs that something wasn't quite right for you?
Yeah, for me, it was just a period of time where I was very fatigued, had a persistent cough. I thought I had something along the lines of like a summer cold or slight pneumonia, shortness of breath. And it kind of culminated over Labor Day weekend when I went into urgent care and got a bunch of work done. And lo and behold, I was diagnosed with very advanced cancer.
Did any member of your family ever get diagnosed with colon cancer before?
Yeah, no previous history of colon cancer in my family. Obviously at the age of 41, even at that time, I think the recommended age or the age that's covered by insurance for a colonoscopy is age 50. So really just unaware, I guess, of the possibility that somebody as young as that could be impacted.
I'm nodding my head off camera here. You may see me because my father has always had polyps since his 40s and 50s as a result. Never cancerous, but as a result, since 45, I've been going for a colonoscopy regularly just to make sure. Haven't had any polyps spotted. But I had a very dear friend who was a registered nurse who ignored symptoms. Now, you did not do that. You didn't. You clearly did not ignore symptoms. She ignored symptoms and she died. She died. It took 5 years, but it got her, no matter how much treatment she had. And all she kept saying was, if only, if only, if only. And it just breaks your heart because it is such a preventable death for so many people. What would you say to people who might be having symptoms but keep putting it off?
Yeah, I think there's so many ways today, in order for you to check in to see what your health is. Obviously, a colonoscopy is the best way to do it. But if you're younger and you're not able to get that through insurance, Cologuard offers a great product that enables folks to test at home in their own convenience, and it has a really high efficacy. So, I think it's something that's really not talked about a lot. Colon cancer is kind of the silent cancer. And so what I'm trying to do in the spirit of some friends that I've lost along the way, and in the spirit of some friends that are in a big struggle right now, is to be a better advocate and try to raise awareness. But there's a lot of different avenues that people have in order to go get checked. And I think it's so important that folks be their own advocate, listen to their bodies. I actually ignored some signs for a period of time, Ken. So I wish I would have
Mhm.
checked in sooner. Luckily, I was able to get to great care very quickly, and really had a pretty unique outcome. And I'm very grateful for it, and I want to try to pay that forward.
So let's tell everybody more about Cologuard. I'm glad you brought us there. So Cologuard is one of the least invasive ways of testing for colon cancer that there is. You take a fecal sample, you put it on the test kit that they give you, you ship it to them, and they analyze it. And now, unless you are, I guess it's only recommended for people who are not at a high risk. So, like if you had an immediate relative who died of colon cancer, you should probably go for the colonoscopy. But if you're just starting a routine check and you don't have any cancer in the immediate family, that's the greatest way because it'll give you. It's extremely accurate. It's not as accurate as a colonoscopy, but it is still very accurate. Cologuard is a perfect test for people who are afraid to go through the whole doctor's office or getting knocked out and getting the colonoscopy. Right? How easy is it?
It's very simple, actually. My wife's actually been using the Cologuard product after I was diagnosed. So, it's something that's so simple to access and to get. And again, just an efficient way for folks that aren't able to get the colonoscopy.
And think about people, I mean, we think about it in terms of American terms, but think about people all over the world who may not have access to a colonoscopy, right? Or who can't afford a colonoscopy. It's not covered. People around the world don't necessarily have the kind of health insurance that we have and the kind of care that we have. This could save millions of lives around the world. Just a little test kit like that. It's amazing that we have access to this. And it's just a shame that it's not used more. Are we looking at a point when we could hope that insurance covers it even from an early age for anyone, so that people can just automatically just get a Cologuard test before the colonoscopy and just start it as early as possible?
You would hope so, but I think obviously with insurance companies, there's challenges. At least the age for the colonoscopy recommended, I think now has gone down to the age of 45. But still, there's still barriers both for that procedure as well as to gain access for everybody for the Cologuard product.
Now, you represented New Jersey on the big stage with the Cologuard Classic. What does that mean to you to represent the Garden State like that?
Yeah, it was nice. I mean, I think being out there, words can't do justice to what an amazing event to bring together 500, close to 500 survivors, patients, caretakers, loved ones, advocates. It was more of a festival than a golf tournament. It was a celebration of life and of those who are no longer with us. Listening to Simone Bozeman, Chadwick Boseman's wife, speak as the primary speaker during the Champions Dinner. Katie Couric as the MC who lost her husband
Mhm.
to colon cancer, and then just the individuals, just amazing individuals like my playing partner Silas Jones, age 12, lost his dad Zach to the disease, but just being at the forefront and turning his pain into advocacy. Just super impressive individuals.
You are a very good man for promoting the cause and making sure people know there is a way to help prevent early death. Mike, give everybody a website so they can get more information.
Yeah, I think the Cologuard website, I think it's www.cologuard.com. Look for information there. Be your own advocate. Have people in your corner. I was fortunate enough that my wife was my biggest supporter through the period of my sickness, and it was life changing for me to get to a key place like an MSK as quick as possible.
You bet. Definitely. Talk to your doctor. You could Google Cologuard, Cologuard. Google it, and it'll tell you all about the test. Easy to get. Talk to your doctor if you have any suspicions. Make sure don't just let it linger. You could take this early and never have to worry about it. So that's the key. Colon cancer survivor Mike Van Raphorst. We're glad you're here safe and sound. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Appreciate the time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike. 28 minutes past the hour. When we come back, Alzheimer's disease becoming one of the most urgent public health challenges of our time. We'll talk about it. You're watching Mornings with Ken Rosato on the East Coast and the West. We'll be back in 2. 31 minutes past the hour on Thursday, April 9th, 2026. Welcome back to Mornings with Ken Rosato. We're live on the East Coast and the West Coast. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the forecast for both coasts.
This weather is brought to you by Audio Nova, your hearing experts, serving all of New Jersey with 13 locations.
Mike, if you include the Gulf of Mexico or the Gulf of America, depending on your mood for the day, you could say all three coasts.
You could. Yeah, you could say all three coasts. And on a day like today, I think our coast is looking pretty sunny and dry. It looks beautiful through this afternoon, whereas the other coasts that you mentioned, quite a bit of cloud cover and rain on the way. Look at the clearing that takes over for most of the East Coast down toward the Gulf. Yes, there's a little bit of wet weather there that remains after several days of that rain continues down south. Now, our forecast here in New Jersey keeps things dry, and that means the tree pollen spikes to the very high levels. So keep the allergy medicine close at hand, because even though the weeds and grasses are still low, there is a lot of dry weather on the way, and that means the pollen just keeps rising. As far as the West Coast, quite a bit of moisture moves in down to the Pacific Southwest, and that will allow for plenty of that cloud cover and rain to come through. Look at the futurecast showing a few showers move through with that trough tomorrow morning. You see the rain right down along the coast, and then again on Saturday morning, more rain even before the front actually pushes through for Sunday, where we get the most rain down in LA. So a weekend of wet weather, gray sky. I think by Monday start to clear things out when those clouds finally lift. So a little bit of wet weather down there after our last day of dry for Southern California. We'll take another check of the forecast across the country, let you know how long this warmth lasts. That's coming up in a few minutes.
Mike, thank you very much, sir. Yes, indeedy. It is 38 degrees right now, northern New Jersey, 30 degrees in Trenton. So a little disparity in temperatures there. Must be that my thermometer's caught in the sun, which it shouldn't be because we keep it toward the north of the house. But nonetheless, all right. So we have in the 30s in New Jersey. Look at the West Coast, California now, Los Angeles, 61 degrees. It is 62 degrees in San Diego, and it is 74 degrees for our friends in South Florida. With their channel on FLA.com. Looking at traffic, there is an unanticipated construction delay on 295. This is southbound by exit 11, Route 322, Logan Township. So the lanes to the right going to the upper left of the screen, they are about a mile and a half before that point. That's the closest camera that's working. The traffic folks have the camera that's right where we need out of service right now. But this is pretty close. This gives you an idea. So it's not supremely traffic-y, but nonetheless, just beware. 295 southbound at exit 11, Route 322, Logan Township. The ramp lane and right shoulder are closed. These folks are going to be hitting that just about a minute or two from this point. If you are headed to any of the area airports, the long-term parking lots are all jamming right now. And that's because a lot of folks took the holidays or spring break, depending on if they were at college or whatnot. Actually, a lot of grammar schools are celebrating spring break last week or this week. It's kind of staggered so that everybody doesn't go at the same time. And a lot of people were complaining over the years that you couldn't get airline tickets and you couldn't get hotel reservations because everybody had spring break at the same time. Now, spring break, pardon me, is spread over like a 4 or 5 week period. They call it spring break. So just be aware that the airport parking lots, the long-term parking lots, are all 90 to 100% full. So go online and reserve a parking space before you leave your house if you're driving yourself to the airport. Otherwise, just take an Uber, Lyft, taxi, or have a friend drive you and drop you off. That's the best bet. On the Hudson River crossings, we're looking at the Lincoln Tunnel now with 25 minutes in. The Holland Tunnel only 15, and the GWB upper and lower, not bad at all. Upper level is on the right and lower on the left. Either way, it's only going to cost you 10 minutes in. We look at the West Coast now. We have a hit and run. No injuries reported. This is in Santa Fe Springs at Shady Bend Drive and Hacienda Boulevard at that intersection. In Altadena, we have a silver alert. Missing elderly person. It's a woman. Her name is Frances, we're being told. If you see, it's only 4:36 West Coast time. If you happen to see in Altadena an elderly woman wandering the streets at this hour, call police. Don't approach the person, but keep an eye on them. Call police until police can get there because of the silver alert. And we have another accident reported right now, and this is in Newhall. Let's see, in Newhall by Route 71 and the 60. Just to keep you updated on that in the West Coast, 36 minutes past the hour. As our population ages, Alzheimer's disease is becoming one of the most urgent public health challenges of our time. It impacts families, caregivers, and the healthcare system at every level. Here in New Jersey, an estimated 220,000 people are currently living with Alzheimer's, and that number is expected to grow as people live longer. Now, a major investment is helping advance research and treatment in our area. The Rutgers Krieger Klein Alzheimer's Research Center, part of Rutgers Brain Health Institute at Rutgers University, has received a $1.5 million gift to train the next generation of physician scientists to study this. Dr. Michael Schneider-Beery, director of the Rutgers Krieger Klein Alzheimer's Research Center, is here to tell us more. Good morning, Dr. Beery.
Good morning. And it's Michal, it's not Michael.
Michal, you know what? I remember this, and we've had you on before.
You
Please
have
forgive
made
me.
that
You know what?
mistake in the past, and that means
Yes, I have.
something.
And I apologize. And here's the worst part. I have a monitor to my right here, and I could see you. So I know better than that. But here's the problem, doctor. I haven't had my coffee. So please accept my
Go ahead.
apologies. I will welcome you. I'm going to say your name again so I get it right. Dr. Michael Schneider-Beery. Did I get that?
That's correct. Yes, that is correct.
Dr. Beery, good to have you on here. And
Thank you
I know
so
we've
much.
talked about this before. My father suffers from advanced dementia. He's never been diagnosed with Alzheimer's, but he has advanced dementia, sort of a cousin, right, to Alzheimer's. So this is a near and dear to my heart whenever we have you on and talk about this. How widespread is Alzheimer's, and is it growing? Is it just growing in diagnosis, or is it growing in actual cases?
So, in the United States, we're over 7 million people with Alzheimer's disease. Worldwide is about 50 million. In about 15, 20 years, if we don't find the solutions, primarily prevention solutions, we're going to get to 125, 130 million people with the disease. So it's by all means an epidemic. And it has to do, as you said in the beginning, with the aging of the population. Now, about 15 to 20% of the population in the world has a gene or a genotype, a type of a gene named ApoE4. And those people are at particularly high risk of developing the disease. They have more vessel disease in their brain. And they are the ones that, with the newly approved medications for Alzheimer's disease, have the highest degree of adverse events. So this trial that we're putting together, that we have started, in fact, focuses on these people that are at very high risk, have high risk for adverse events with the novel medications. And what we're doing is trying a nutrient that we call alpha-linolenic acid, a long name.
Oh.
And we have data showing in mice models that carry this gene. We show that they have an impairment in the blood-brain barrier, which is true for the human species as well. The blood-brain barrier is this super sophisticated system of vessels that protects the brain from bad things coming out and protects the brain from losing things that should stay in. People with this ApoE4 genotype have this blood-brain barrier compromise, leading eventually to more cognitive impairment and cognitive decline, ultimately leading to dementia. In that case, we show in the animal model that when we treat them with this nutrient, this blood-brain barrier is actually revamped. It functions like a normal blood-brain barrier. And our hope, of course, is that when we treat humans with the ApoE4 genotype, older adults with this genotype, we will prevent further deterioration in the cognition.
Now, two things I want to point out. You talked about alpha-linoleic acid, and I only am able to pronounce it because I used to take it years ago. I used to struggle with my weight. Now, I remember a study about alpha-linoleic acid, ALA, being linked somehow to your hunger and things like that. So I remember being put on that by a nutritionist friend, and I had taken it for years. My memory's pretty sharp. My father, who we look and sound very much alike, he's 95 and a half, but his memory is basically gone now. And I'm just wondering, I'm just hearing you say this, and right away, I'm getting ideas. But I can see in my father when he's prescribed certain medications, and they're trying medication after medication more than anything to just try to help him sleep at night. Because I know with people with Alzheimer's and dementias, they have real problems differentiating day and night and when they sleep, et cetera. And so many of the meds end up causing him to react in an angry way at night. Is that somewhat common with people who have dementia and Alzheimer's?
So actually, 80% of the patients will develop some behavioral disturbance that can go from pacing, just walking and walking and walking, which is considered a behavioral disturbance, to really delusions and hallucinations and psychosis. The issue of lack of sleep is there is something, by the way, we don't know why it happens, but there is a change in the cycle of sleep. And indeed, many Alzheimer's patients pace at night and are sleepy during the whole day. That is correct.
Yeah, and that's exactly. You just diagnosed or defined what happens in our household. My mother and father, my mother's 88 and having to deal with, thankfully an 8 is there, but having to deal with my father deciding to get up at 2:00 in the morning. Sometimes he decides that's when he's going to get up and shower and dress or whatever. And then he'll say, let's go for a walk. And it's 2 a.m. But that's, it is what it is. But the idea is to just keep him comfortable and yeah.
Can I squeeze a small explanation of something that you said in the beginning that is not incorrect, but it isn't correct either? Dementia and Alzheimer are not cousins. Dementia is actually an umbrella name for many types of dementia, the most common one of them being Alzheimer's disease. So if you take 100 people with dementia, meaning that they have declining memory and declining other cognitive functions, eventually affecting their functioning, then about 70% of them will have the pathology of Alzheimer's disease in their brain. And the other 30% will have other types of pathology. And even that is changing over time, because the more our microscopes are becoming sophisticated and our MRIs are becoming sophisticated, we understand that there is a garden variety of pathologies that causes this dementia syndrome, with some of them pushing more in the direction of Alzheimer's disease because there is more Alzheimer's pathology, and others pushing to other directions because of other pathologies. But dementia is actually a person that has Alzheimer's. We say it has a dementia of the Alzheimer's type.
I'm glad thank you that is the clearest definition I have ever heard. Thank you. In fact, I'm going to clip that and make sure that we have that on our website so that people understand, because anytime I've asked a doctor to explain it, they never quite explain it like that. That was perfect. Doctor, what is a website for people to get more information?
So it's ADRD for Alzheimer's disease and related dementias, adrd.rutgers.edu for education. adrd.rutgers.edu.
Dr. Michael Schneider-Beery, director of the Rutgers Krieger Klein Alzheimer's Research Center. Got it this time. Thank you, doctor. It is always a pleasure to have you on, and we learn something new from you every time. We appreciate you so much.
Okay, thank you so much for having me. My pleasure.
You bet. Thank you. Wow. And it's frightening. Probably 80% of my friends' parents have dementia of some kind. So it's something we really all have to keep an eye on. 45 minutes past the hour. Rider University expanding in New Jersey, offering new colleges and community partnerships. We'll talk with the university's president in just a moment. We'll be back in 2 minutes. We're excited to welcome Rider University as the presenting sponsor of On New Jersey Mornings with Ken Rosato, marking a new partnership focused on storytelling, community, and the future of education right here in New Jersey. Rider is evolving in a big way, from new academic programs to deeper community impact across the state, all while navigating a rapidly changing higher education landscape. Joining us now is Rider University President John R. Loyak. We say good morning, President Loyak. Good to have you on.
Good morning, Ken. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, and thank you from all of us here at On New Jersey. Thank you for your sponsorship and your confidence you've given to our channel. We honor you, and we appreciate you very much for doing that. And we're honored that Rider University graces the state of New Jersey. Tell us what's new at Rider University right now.
Oh boy, there's a lot going on right now. So from engagement in the community in new ways with our students, we just signed an agreement with the Trenton School District to help students get college ready and get tutoring services. We did this in Reading, Pennsylvania in my past presidency at Alvernia University, and it really worked well to help attract first-generation college students into higher education in a way where they have the resources to do it. We're kicking off a new student-centered business incubator where we're literally going to be working with a half a dozen entrepreneurs in downtown Trenton who are trying to get off the ground. Our students will help with business plans and websites and communication strategies and support for entrepreneurs. There's a great program that just kicked off in Trenton as a business accelerator, so they get boot camp training. Then they'll connect up with our students and Daryl Mace, who runs our Community Connection program, and get support resources to help develop their products. We're looking at new programs. We did a big enhancement to our student experience. We really are a first-generation college student, or college university. I'm a first-generation college student. And the resources that first-gen students need to make sure that they're doing the social networking and have the academic support to succeed has been completely redesigned here at Rider. Over the fall, we've just implemented that all in the spring, a new health and wellness center coming on board here over the summer to get ready for the students coming back in the fall. Just so many new things happening as we reimagine Rider.
That's exciting. And I mean, it's nice to see you branching out throughout the state like that with satellite, if you will, satellite education around the state. But you're also working to prepare students for a very quickly evolving job market. Talk about that. And it's interesting you talk about also the first generation students, because a lot of people don't realize or don't think about that. There are colleges that have been around for many more years, but at the same time, they're working on a very old model. You're working on today's model. It's a whole different approach, if you will, to college education.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely true. We are really focused on being the experiential learning, outcomes-driven institution in the state of New Jersey. So not only will we get you academically ready for your profession of choice, but we'll make sure that you get out and you get a chance to do it a few times before you have to go and do it full-time. We also engage our students in the community, like the Trenton Partnership in the high school that we just talked about, right? Where they're actually out not only getting experiential learning, but helping to support the community. Because we really want to get students not just to get ready to make a living, but for the whole life experience. And so that community connection, the experiential learning, the job outcome focus, and the success that Rider has had with that, and the network of experiential learning we're building out. You can go to Oxford for a semester. You can run a radio station and a TV station and social media from behind the mic or the camera to raising money to selling ads to the business operations. You can run a food franchise here as a student. You run the P&L. You get all of that experience. As I mentioned, our students will be out with entrepreneurs, helping them build their business plans and get their businesses off the ground, and so many more. We could spend an hour going through all the different opportunities we have here for students to really get their hands dirty and do some of that work. And you don't have to be a business student to work with an entrepreneur. I was just talking to our arts faculty yesterday about how that fits and how you also have to run the operation behind the arts as well as perform the arts. and being able to put that all together so that the student gets a wide range of experiences and is really job ready when they finish Rider in 4 years.
President Loic, this sounds almost like a hybrid between a university or college and a trade school, because these students come out not just with book knowledge, but with that practical experience of the day-to-day running of a business or doing the function they studied. You could be book smart, as you and I both know. You could be book smart, and then the real world hits you in the face, and it's quite a different thing. But the fact that you're doing this and providing this opportunity for students is a game changer.
Yeah, we totally agree, and we think it is the model of the future. So we really have to have students job ready, and you can't be job ready if you haven't had a chance to roll up your sleeves and do the job and get the experiences that come from that. Not only that, so many times in those situations where students are doing that experiential learning with an employer, it creates the first job. So not only do they get job ready, they get familiar with an environment, they build relationships, and it leads to their first job experience, and then they're off to the career race.
And you are truly married to New Jersey. You have such a strong connection with local New Jersey communities. Talk about that.
Yeah, it is absolutely true. Rider has done a great job over the years of connecting with the communities, and we're in the process of taking that to a whole different level. But whether it's our education students or our business students or our science students out doing things with local employers, doing things in the local community, many of our students stay here. On a percentage basis, we have more New Jersey students than any other institution in the state. We're 40% first generation. So we're impacting lives, not just of the students, but of their families, and certainly for employers in the region and area.
And what do you see Rider University and its role as in the future as you look ahead? Where do you see it 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the line?
Yeah, I think what you'll see is, and we are just embarking on this, where we don't touch the workforce or the student experiences really in the health science area. So we're looking at a series of programs, and frankly, I was just in Washington, D.C. with our 2 senators and our House member talking about some funding to start to expand those programs. So I think that will be the big centerpiece academically, will be around health sciences, nursing, occupational therapy, physical therapy, physician associate programs, nurse practitioner programs, because the job market is in such a deficit in those positions, and it's such great outcomes and great technical learning for our students to build a career, that it's the perfect marriage for an experiential-based institution like Rider. And then you'll see us continue to grow in the community. Our students will be out in the community doing all kinds of new and different things as we continue to develop our experiential learning model and our community service model that will make the relationship between Rider and the community even richer than it is today.
Well, it's interesting you talked about nurse practitioners and physician's assistants. We will have a person talking about nurse practitioners on in just a few minutes. You know that Governor Sherrill just signed into law on the 31st, I guess it was, signed into law the law that allows nurse practitioners to function as practitioners, which is what the whole intent of their practice is supposed to be, because that had expired, right? That was expiring, and so they would have had to basically function as assistant, basically as registered nurses, but they're back to being able to function with a private practice like a medical doctor. And with the medical field the way it is right now, they are needed more than ever. And it's great that Rider is taking such a big part of that. Rider University President John R. Loyack, thank you again. It's an honor to have you on. Thank you for sponsoring us, and thank you for making New Jersey proud. You always do.
Welcome. We look forward to the partnership.
You bet. So do we, sir. Thank you very much. And we thank Rider once again. It is 57 minutes past the hour right now as we wrap up our hour of coast-to-coast communications here. It is 31 degrees in northern New Jersey, 30 degrees in Trenton on the West Coast, 61 degrees Los Angeles, 62 degrees in San Diego. And for our folks just joining us now on our new channel in Florida on FLA.com, it is currently 73 degrees in Fort Lauderdale. It is 65 up in Jacksonville. 57 minutes past the hour. For those of you watching on LACA on the West Coast, stay tuned for your your local news. If you're watching on New Jersey, ONNJ.com, we'll be right back live with New Jersey news, opinion, weather, and traffic. Today, it's going to be chilly once again. Meteorologist Mike Favetta will have the detailed forecast in just a moment. Thanks for watching Mornings with Ken Rosato. Back in 2 minutes. A very good morning. It's 8 a.m., Thursday, April 9th, 2026. Welcome to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. We'll take your calls. The phone lines are open at 888-658-0234. 888-658-0234. A few clouds this morning, then mostly sunny today. Still kind of chilly, highs in the mid-50s. We head to meteorologist Mike Favetta with a check of the full Garden State forecast.
This weather is brought to you by Audio Nova, your hearing experts, serving all of New Jersey with 13 locations.
So it's still kind of chilly, Mike, but it feels just a hair less chilly than yesterday. I won't say warmer, but I'll say less chilly. Am I right?
Yeah, well, instead of the freeze, it's a frost. So yeah, we're slowly warming, Ken. We have one more morning ahead of that frigid weather, and then temperatures really warm each of overnight into the afternoon. So the frost advisory remains for the next hour over toward eastern sections of New Jersey. The purple that you see right down the shore, that's the hard freeze that lingers through 9 a.m. as well. For temperatures that were, well, down at or below the freezing mark right now. We're warming through the 30s across northern New Jersey. It's a little bit warmer than yesterday by a degree or two, but it's going to feature this afternoon. That is a very mild finish to the day. Like yesterday, we get a lot of sunshine. We get warm weather that returns. Temperatures climb into the 60s. You really have to stand in the sun to feel that warmth, because in the shade, yeah, it'll warm up into the mid 50s, but that sun, similar to an August sunshine. Remember, now that we're entering spring, we have a very nice feel around, and that will help things feel quite warm in through the afternoon. So the same sun angle as even late September. Lots of clear sky around throughout this evening. Tomorrow starts off with a bit of cloud cover, but then look at that. That southerly breeze really helping temperatures warm inland into the 60s. Still chilly at the shore in the 40s there, with that chilly ocean influencing the temperature. Overnight into tomorrow night and early Saturday morning, get a quick sprinkle, but it's gone by sunrise, and that dry weather prevails this weekend with all of the sunshine again warming us on Sunday back into the 60s By Monday, I think we stay warm as well. So it's a very pleasant pattern that keeps our temperatures above average into this weekend, with those highs climbing well into the 60s each and every day going throughout Sunday. Monday's weather into next week gets even warmer, and yes, there are some 80s on the board. We'll tell you more about that coming up with your 7-day forecast in a few minutes.
I'm feeling like I'm in my 80s right now because of the cold. So I'm glad. I'm looking forward to
Yeah.
it. Thank you, Mike. We appreciate you, sir. Thank you very much. It is 34 degrees right now, northern New Jersey, 31 in Trenton. Down in Cape May, it's 31 degrees as well. Vineland, 30 degrees. And we take a look at traffic conditions. We have an unanticipated construction delay on 295, and that is southbound at exit 11 by Logan Township. The ramp lane and right shoulder closed. If you take a look at the Holland Tunnel, earlier we said the Holland and the Lincoln were both moving just fine. Look at the approach from Route 139. This is coming from the turnpike on 139 to the Holland. It's not just slow. It's not just heavy. It's stopped. That is an absolute jam and mess. Don't know. That means usually something's going on in the tunnel, either a breakdown or an accident. So just beware. Earlier we thought we were free and clear with the Lincoln and Holland. Now that's the Holland Tunnel approach. By the way, it's not that much better at the Lincoln. We'll show you that in just a second, but that's really bad in the Holland Tunnel. They're not giving us a minute count either. Usually they say, oh, it's now up to 30. They haven't done that yet. So that tells me that's probably over 30 minutes into the Holland Tunnel. If you're approaching any of the area airports and you're driving yourself to catch a flight, make sure you have a long-term parking space reserved, because this is still spring break. Spring break is staggered now these days, and it goes over a period of weeks. So many of the area airports are at 95 to 100% parking capacity. Make sure you reserve a parking space before you head out to one of the airports, or else you're going to get there, not be able to park your car and miss your flight. So don't do that. Go online, reserve a space in one of the satellite parking lots, and take a shuttle over the airport. That's the best way to go. Now let's take a look at the Lincoln Tunnel approach. This is on 495 approaching the Helix. Okay, this is a different angle, but look at the bus lane. The bus lane is stopped. So something's going on at the Lincoln. Let me take a look. I did see something pop up here. Lincoln Tunnel, it says delays eastbound. Yeah, it's not saying, it's just saying delays. So it's going to cost you 25 minutes in via the bus lane. Usually the bus lanes just flow right in, but you can see the line of buses stopped. It is stopped right now. So we'll see if we can find out what's going on. Oh, this is the other angle. So yeah, look at that from either angle. You could just see that they're stopped. Usually that's the best way to get in, is via the bus lanes, and not so much today. The other approach into Manhattan right now, GWB, that's your best bet. Take a look at this. This is moving beautifully. GWB upper and lower levels, only about 10 to 15 minutes in. Look at that, if 10 minutes. It's wide open. This is the 1 mile point where this camera is. So there could be traffic behind the camera that we're not seeing, but it doesn't look like it, because usually at this point, if you have traffic there, it's 20 to 30 minutes from that point in, and you can see it's moving right past that. So it's under that amount of time to make your way into Manhattan, thankfully. It is 8:05, and Governor Sherrill signed legislation to allow new nuclear power development in the state of New Jersey. Officials say nuclear energy is sustainable and would be environmentally responsible if carefully regulated. Existing facilities like the Salem nuclear power plant already supply a big chunk of the state's electric supply. The Murphy administration had forced the closure of 5 fossil fuel plants and 1 nuclear plant, which many experts agree led to New Jersey having some of the highest electric rates in the nation. A Rutgers University study has found that so-called forever chemicals, or PFAS, in New Jersey's drinking water have dropped to about 55%. Towns like Willingboro actually cut contamination to near zero after they invested millions in water treatment systems. Most states have outlawed cookware coated with PFAS, so fewer of those chemicals end up in our water supply. The chemicals are linked to health risks, including cancer. They get into your body, and they could be in your body for years if you just have one exposure. 6 minutes past 8 o'clock, and if you're one of the 500,000 customers of New Jersey American Water, you may want to stock up on bottled water for now. Workers for the agency had threatened to strike back on April 3rd when their contract expired. The company offered a new deal, which must now be approved by a union vote. If the deal is rejected, workers say they'll walk out. The company says it has a backup plan, though, should a strike occur. Dog owners in Clifton are concerned after a family's dog was allegedly taken from the porch of their home. Surveillance video shows a woman and a child cornering and grabbing the dog before leaving in an SUV. That is really disturbing. You come onto somebody's private property and take their dog. The dog, named Rocky, was wearing a harness and a tag at the time. Police are asking anyone with information, you recognize these people? Why are they doing this? Anyone with information, please give a call, but not to point the finger of blame. Don't leave your dog outside by themselves, especially in the front, because crazy things like this could happen. So we don't know, but why are these people doing this? They just see a dog they like and they decide, I want that dog. Come on, go to the pound and get a dog. There are lots of dogs you could adopt legally. Just so wrong to do that. So give police a call if you recognize these people, or if you know anything about the story. A homeless person was found dead on Patriots Path in Morristown. It happened back on April 1st at about 3 p.m. Police and EMS responded after somebody called in a report of a man who appeared to have passed out. No other details were released. The cause of death is unknown, and the Morris County Prosecutor's Office is now investigating. 808 tragedy in Newark when police say an unidentified teen carjacked a delivery man. That resulted in the delivery man's death. Police say back on April 4th, 46-year-old delivery driver John Aponte Alarcon was dropping off packages when the teen jumped into his car, allegedly to steal it. Alarcon tried to stop the car by grabbing onto the door, but the teen began driving away and crashed into another car, and that caused a rollover in which Alarcon was fatally crushed. Police say the teen was arrested on Tuesday and faces murder, carjacking, and other charges. Well, several New Jersey colleges, including Princeton and Rutgers, ranked highly in a U.S. News and World Report survey. Princeton placed 25th in engineering nationwide, while Rutgers ranked highly in business, nursing, and education. Other schools like Montclair State University and Stevens Institute of Technology also earned high ranks in several categories. Got good schools here in New Jersey. It is 8:09. Rex Heuermann, the Gilgo Beach serial killer, has pleaded guilty to 7 counts of murder for strangling 7 women. He also admitted to the murder of an 8th woman, Karen Vergata. It's all part of a plea deal that he struck. Heuermann is expected to be sentenced on June 17th to 3 consecutive terms of life in prison without the possibility of parole. 8:10 now, a 12-year-old half-blind dog named Honey fought off a bear threatening her family's property. This happened in New Mexico. The bear, freshly out of hibernation, clearly hungry, was targeting chickens that the family were raising on their property. Honey did get hurt. You could see Honey all wrapped up there. Honey was bitten, had some puncture wounds, lost some skin. She was rushed to the vet. She will survive. You could see her all wrapped up there. A good vet took care of her. Her family called her their savior for protecting the family from the bear and protecting the other animals on the property, despite Honey not being young. Honey is over 10 years old and took good care of her family. Good animal, Honey is. Good for you, Honey. It is coming up on 8:11 right now. And when we come back, the FIFA World Cup will be here before you know it. And communities across the region are working to make sure the impact is felt locally. This will bring millions of people to the area. It's going to bring potentially, excuse me, as I just fix something over here. It will bring potentially millions of people to the area, at least 1.2 million that we know of. And that will help truly stimulate business. Excuse me, because we're also streaming on social media and we're having a social media breakdown here. Okay, we're fixing that. Done. So we hope that you're around and enjoying the FIFA Cup when it comes to town, because it'll mean for many small businesses a potential game changer in terms of how they're recognized and how they serve the public. In terms of weather, a few clouds this morning, then mostly sunny, highs in the mid-50s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta will return with your full Garden State forecast, and we'll take your calls at 888-658-0234, 888-658-0234. You're watching On New Jersey Mornings, seen East Coast and West Coast, and now in Florida on FLA.com. Don't go away. We're back in 2 minutes. back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. Coming up on 8:15, we'll take your calls at 888-658-0234, 888-658-0234. We're streaming live behind the scenes, by the way, right now on TikTok and X. So here's a challenge. Somebody from TikTok or X. Let's see who'll call first. Give us a call at 888-658-0234. Put you on the air here at On New Jersey Mornings. Mostly sunny today, but we could see a couple of clouds this morning here and there, but it becomes mostly sunny. Still a little chilly, highs mid-50s. You want to know the details? We're going to go to meteorologist Mike Favetta with the Garden State forecast in a sec.
This weather is brought to you by Audio Nova, your hearing experts, serving all of New Jersey with 13 locations.
All right, Mike, still 35 degrees northern New Jersey, 33 degrees in Trenton. I'm feeling chills.
You're feeling chills. Well, that chill returns again tomorrow, Ken, with another round of very cold weather early in the morning. After so much sunshine yesterday, we finished off the day nice and dry, and now a little bit of frost setting up across New Jersey. But that frost will melt, especially with all that sun warming us into the 50s throughout this afternoon. Of course, when you stand in the sunshine, it feels a whole lot warmer. Those temperatures measured in the shade, and it does feel pretty chilly, even with that cold front still off to our west, arriving by tomorrow night and departing by early Saturday morning. So before then, we get a lovely southerly breeze, which makes the coastal neighborhoods cool off a little bit. However, we warm up inland back into the mid-60s, may even briefly touch 70 tomorrow afternoon. There goes the quick shot of rain. Northerly breezes on Saturday make us feel dry and mild back into around 60, and then a little bit of a southerly breeze again on Sunday brings back some clouds trying to make a run for 70 degrees again. It's Monday into Tuesday that we really see those temperatures spike, and that will allow for lots of warm weather with a mix of clouds and sun throughout the middle of the week. No real substantial rainfall, and that's what's keeping the pollen count so high. We'll talk more about that pollen in just a bit, but into the weekend, plan on lovely weather both days in the 60s, nice and spring-like, a few degrees above average for a change, and the dry weather persists, Ken, into Monday and Tuesday of next week.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. It is 35 degrees now, northern New Jersey, 33 degrees in Trenton, 34 degrees in Cape May, and also in Vineland. In fact, here, let me just do a shout out or a request to Pam. Pam, on the 280 tour, see if you could pull up 6th, 280 at 6th. Let's see if we could bring that up on screen. We'll see. So we're going over some traffic issues right now on the 280 tour at 6th. All right, there you go. So we do have a report now, delays 280 westbound. It's from east of the Stickle Drawbridge in Harrison to exit 14E King Street, Newark. That's really where you are right there. That's about an exit away. So you can see the traffic building up there. That's the traffic going away from you I'm talking about. So we just spotted that camera. But we do have some serious incidents in terms of volume. We've been telling you that it's been relatively light all week because a lot of people have been away on vacation. Certainly the GWB is fine, but look at the Lincoln Tunnel approach right now. The bus lanes were actually stopped a minute ago. Now the car lanes as well are jamming into the helix, making your way into the Lincoln Tunnel. That's a mess. I mean, half an hour ago that was flowing, so something must have happened in the Lincoln Tunnel causing that jam right there. That's going to cost you a good 40 minutes at least into the Lincoln Tunnel from that. I'll let Pam take a second to switch over to 139, and that's the shot from the Turnpike and Route 139 into the Holland Tunnel. That's not looking much better right now either. I think a lot of people said, oh, it's okay to drive in because people are on vacation. So check out the 139 approach also to the Holland Tunnel. This is also jammed. Look at that. You can't even tell because of the smear on the lens. They're stopped. They're absolutely stopped trying to make their way into the Holland Tunnel. That's also reporting 35 to 40 minutes in delays trying to make your way in. Your best bet right now is actually going to be the GWB, upper and lower levels, moving pretty well. It's only about 10 minutes in. Upper level is going to be on the right side of your screen, lower level on your left. 8:18 right now, and the FIFA World Cup will be here in just a few months. Communities across the region are preparing to be in the global spotlight. Local youth sports organizations are playing a key role in that. Evan Dabby is the CEO of New Jersey Youth Soccer. We say good morning to you, Evan.
Good morning. Make me feel better about my commute here. So thank you so much.
Oh, man. Let me tell you, Evan, I spent 25 years driving every day into Manhattan, but fortunately it was in the middle of the night. But I look at that. I used to pass all those, and I don't miss it at all. I miss where I used to work, but I don't miss that traffic. It's nightmarish to see that. Isn't it nice to be in your place right now and not worry about it?
New Jersey works for me, lifetime resident, so all good here.
I'm with you, my friend. I'm with you. Love it here. My commute involves walking down a flight of steps. That's my commute these days, and I'm loving it. How big a moment, by the way, is the World Cup for soccer in New Jersey? For people who may have started to forget about how cool soccer is, and it is, how big is this for soccer overall?
We're looking at one of these once in a generation moments, and we couldn't be more lucky in New Jersey. The matches at MetLife were going to be at the center of the global game, and this is, for those who don't know, this is going to be the biggest sporting event ever. I've heard the host committee talk about it. It's going to be like having 8 Super Bowls in New Jersey with the 8 game dates, and that's not even mentioning the 6 game dates in Philadelphia that we know our New Jersey population will be able to enjoy. But we look at it way more than just the matches, and it's really a unique opportunity to engage the communities across New Jersey. So we're really focused on how we can find ways for families and young players to feel part of this, because we know not everyone's going to get to the games. And at New Jersey Youth Soccer, with more than 100,000 members and more than 100,000 families, we're focused on inspiring them and how we can do that across the communities throughout the state.
I remember as a kid in the 70s when Pelé was of course big, and you had the Cosmos. There was a resurgence of soccer, and we didn't have anything like this to help boost it, to help boost the game. This is going to be an in your face, like people who wouldn't have given soccer a second thought are going to watch it. And I guarantee when somebody sees a game and sees people getting excited, they're going to get sucked up by the excitement, and they're going to start giving a new interest to soccer when they never gave it a thought before. What say you on that?
Great point. I mean, there's global attention, as you talked about it, and now we have a unique local opportunity. So there's so many things popping up every day, and initiatives like Goya Presents Flag Cities for the Hudson County and Bergen County areas. We're working along the side the host committee. There's going to be opportunities in every neighborhood for watch parties, for festivals, for local activations. It's not just about something to watch on TV, but something that New Jersey residents are going to be able to actively experience in their own communities. There's so many things coming down the pike.
Right, and that's really the whole point of this, right? It's to bring people together and get people interested, get the community out, get off your damn phone, put the phone down, go outside, pick up a soccer ball. You don't have to run the entire soccer stadium. You can go in a parking lot with some friends and just kick the ball back and forth. You'll see how much fun it is while you're talking. I used to play soccer as a kid. I loved it. My mother-in-law actually was a phenomenal soccer player in her day. So we get soccer in the family. It's a phenomenal sport. Talk about some of the opportunities this brings for young athletes in New Jersey.
We see this as growing participation. I mentioned nearly 120,000 members throughout the state, but it's also about inspiring the next generation. I think so many of us can think about the '94 World Cup, and I remember that as a kid, and how the men shocked the world, beating Colombia, advancing out of the first round. And let's remember, New Jersey was a key part of that. Legends like John Harkes, Tony Meola, Tab Ramos, New Jersey and the Carney Boys led the way. '99 World Cup, again, women, won the World Cup. World's attention on them. And again, New Jersey leading the way, with Christy Rampone and Heather O'Reilly and Tobin Heath. But there's so much talk about the players, but it's not just about the elite players. We're really excited about what this is going to do for access and legacy. We have programs like Let's Play, our after-school initiative for underserved communities, our career development program for college students. And U.S. Soccer recently launched Soccer at Schools in partnership with Bank of America. So we're beyond excited about the potential to bring the game into schools and communities throughout the New Jersey.
I'm glad you pointed that out, because there are towns, this isn't just happening at the Meadowlands per se. There are towns all over North Jersey that are actively hosting events. So you can go to West New York, and you could go to North Bergen, and you could go to Union City, and you could go to Weehawken. And I mean, literally everywhere you go, you're going to find a party. You're going to find a gathering. You're going to find a showcase. You need to go and seek this out. And there are going to be websites we're going to have posted where you could find everything and anything soccer related and FIFA World Cup related. And that's what's great about this. It's going to be a mania, a fever. How are you hoping that this moment will inspire future generations of players? Do you think that it'll bring soccer even all the more into the mainstream for specifically our area?
Yeah, you mentioned some of the events. It's going well beyond, the area of MetLife. We know, I mentioned Goya Presents Flag Cities. Sports Illustrated Stadium just announced their Fan Fest. American Dream's going to have their events. Jersey Shore Blue Claws, we're talking to about having a watch party to help the residents in Ocean County. But yeah, this is going to be about inspiring the next generation. I can't help but to think of Carly Lloyd in 2015 and what she did when another New Jersey legend alone in the finals outscored the whole opposing team with her hat trick. Or let's talk about Jack Hughes and what he did, not too long ago. New Jersey Devils star, golden goal, bringing the gold back for the United States. These are moments that will stay with us forever. And the World Cup here in our backyard, I'm convinced it's going to have and create some of those lifelong memories and dreams that we all think about.
Now, if I'm a mom or a dad and I want to get my kids involved, where do they start? What should they do?
So the first step is just get involved locally. Recreation League, a club program. We have 400 member clubs. So there's soccer in every community. It's accessible to you. I also want to highlight Top Soccer, which is our program for players with disabilities. And that engages nearly 1,000 players across the state. And its registration is free thanks to the support of RWJ Barnabas Health. But in terms of finding out this news, we're going to be active. We're communicating to our members every time there's something new announced. So at New Jersey Youth Soccer, our website, and of course the World Cup host community is doing a fantastic job with their website and social media, just getting the word out about everything that our state's going to benefit from.
Well, Evan, please promise you will come back 1,000 times between now and the FIFA World Cup to talk about this, because we are New Jersey's only streaming news channel 24 hours a day. And we're very excited about this. And so we'd love for you to come on and help spread the fever to everybody so that they know that this is the place to be for the FIFA World Cup and for soccer from this point forward. We want to be that channel and we want you to help us out. Nobody better than you to do that. Evan Dabby, CEO of New Jersey Youth Soccer. We always love when you come on. Thank you so much. And we'll see you this summer.
Thanks so much. The commute works for me. So any day I'm here for you.
You bet, my friend. Thank you. I love that.
Thank you.
The commute is into the next room, the best commute. All right. It is coming up on 8:28. And when we come back, students from Montclair State University, great university, they're celebrating a major national achievement after they took home top honors at the College Television Awards, often referred to as, well, let's just say that they're often referred to as very, very special awards. We're going to tell you about that when we come back. And here's an inside clue. I know them, and they're cool people. We're back in 2 minutes. Don't go away. Very good morning. It is Thursday, April 9th, 2026. 39 degrees right now at 8:30. I'm Ken Rosato. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. A few clouds this morning, then mostly sunny, highs in the mid-50s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the detailed Garden State forecast.
This weather is brought to you by Audio Nova, your hearing experts, serving all of New Jersey with 13 locations.
All right, Mike, looking outside, here I said a few possible clouds. I think most of them are gone. Am I right?
There are a few lingering way down south across southern New Jersey, but that's what's going to keep that area of the state a little bit cooler. You can see them here on the visible satellite. Just a few high, thin clouds starting to migrate their way north, but they'll be gone before you know it, allowing for lots of sun today across central and southern New Jersey to warm into the mid-50s, even a little bit of those temperatures along the shore, slightly cooler. The pollen has been skyrocketing over the last few days with all the dry breezes and the continued dry weather into this weekend, so plan on a rough season for allergies for the trees. The grasses and weeds happen a little later on in the season, specifically in May. No, you're not getting anywhere near our record for the day back in the 2013 for 85 degrees, but plan on plenty of clear sky today, nevertheless helping us warm into the mid-50s. It's been dry the last 7 days. We've only picked up about 1/4 of an inch of rain, so the last significant rainfall was more than a week ago, and there's really no significant rainfall for the next week. Going into Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, tiny chances, just 10% chances there. So we'll enjoy that sunshine while it lasts, even as a little bit of rain tries to threaten us later on Friday night into early Saturday morning. When that pushes through, most of it passes by dry. We enjoy another clear weekend ahead with the high pressure parked over New Jersey, and that'll bring back the warm weather that we'll enjoy into Sunday and Monday and even into next week. So lots of great weather to take hold going throughout the next several days. In fact, the 7-day forecast has highs climbing into the upper 60s throughout this weekend, in the 70s by Monday, and all the way up into the 80s on Tuesday and Wednesday. Really fantastic weather to enjoy. Even at the shore, we managed to make it into the low 70s thanks to a lovely southwesterly breeze. So lots of warmth ahead, Ken, coming up in the next week or so.
All right, Mike, thank you very much, sir. It is 39 degrees now, northern New Jersey, 34 degrees in Trenton, 34 degrees now in Cape May, and 33 in Vineland. And we do have some issues popping up. Let's first talk about Route 139. This is coming from the Turnpike to the Holland Tunnel, and it's just kind of amazing how jammed that is. Look at that. It's absolutely stopped, and it's been that way for about 40 minutes now. That's going to cost you 40 minutes in. That's what they're telling us, to the Holland Tunnel. No motion there at all. Before we queue up the shot to the Lincoln Tunnel, because that's not that much better right now, we want to tell you about a crash investigation and 4 cameras at this point, 4 cameras in that area that we're about to tell you, all out. They're all out for maintenance, of course. Crash investigation on I-80 westbound at exit 34, Route 15 in Wharton. That's where all the sinkholes were, remember, for months. There's a crash investigation there. Let's hope it is totally unrelated to the sinkholes that have been patched. But nonetheless, we want to let you know about that. If you are headed to any of the area airports, long-term parking is 95 to 100% full. So make sure you reserve a parking space or just take an Uber, Lyft, taxi, have a friend drop you off. But don't go there without a reserved parking space if you're driving, because you're going to get there, going to miss your flight looking for a parking space. That's not a good thing. All right, now we look at the approach to the Lincoln Tunnel. This is in the 1 mile point right before the helix, those lanes in the middle, and you can see they are just jammed. At least the bus lanes are now moving. The bus lanes were stopped earlier, so there must have been a problem in the tube that takes the buses, which is the rightmost lane of the 3 tunnels. When you come around the helix, there are 3 tubes. The rightmost tube and the rightmost lane is usually reserved for buses. There must have been an issue there. They've now given the buses a different lane, but now all the cars are impacted going in. So it's going to cost you 40 minutes via the Lincoln Tunnel. GWB is your best bet. It's literally only 10 minutes in upper and lower level. It's been that way all morning long. So drive a few miles out of the way if necessary to avoid 40 to 45 minutes of traffic and rubbernecking and bottlenecking. And this is what you get. Here's your GWB, upper and lower level. Mass Transit's also on or close at this point. 8:35, and students from Montclair State University are celebrating a major national achievement after taking home top honors at the College Television Awards. Their winning project, San Francisco on the Edge, tackles urgent issues from the fentanyl crisis to homelessness and environmental challenges. Joining us now are three of the students behind the production: Sean Thrunk, Andrew Cooper, and Brandon Lang. We say congratulations. And full disclosure, you know how hard it was to book these guys? Just want to let you know, we had to call their agents, we had to contact their attorneys, and then we had to. It was like, what, you got like $1 million a piece appearance fee? Am I correct?
I mean, that's how it had to be. It's tough. But no, in all honesty, Izzy literally just walked over. Izzy's one of our producers. Yeah, we're Brendan and I are lucky enough to actually work here on New Jersey and work with you, Mr. Rosato. So, and then Andrew.
We're so proud of you guys. We are so proud of you guys. This is 2 years in a row that you've gotten this award.
Yeah, that's true. So this was a part of an on-the-road class that we take with Professor Steve McCarthy at Montclair. I was privileged enough to be able to take that class, the Arizona show that won previously, but these two were newcomers to the on-the-road experience, and they were able to get their laurels as well. So it's good to have consistency, but it's also good to have the newcomers appreciate the class and get the wins.
That's awesome. And it is, once you get that bug, that little bit of a bug makes you want to always work a little harder when you produce your works. That's what I found in the business when I was coming up. You get that award, and now you realize you have something to live up to from that point forward. People expect a little higher standard. So that's a very cool thing. It's more than just being given an award. It tells everybody that you're a little better in your craft. So does that make you understand and feel like what you have to look forward to in the future, that extra work?
Yeah, I feel like I can take that because, especially being a part of the Arizona class, it was and being the senior producer on this myself, I'll say I was kind of one of the leaders of this. I definitely felt a bit of a pressure, to try to also live up now to the Arizona. We had our win previously, and so we were hungry for it again. And I know Andrew and Brandon can speak on the fact that you guys were hungry for it. You guys were kind of hungry for this award too.
Yeah, I think coming off of last year's win was definitely a huge motivator for us to really want to push, to make this the best show that it could be. And kind of to your point, we also just headed to Washington D.C. In the same course, and so we're continuing this hard work.
Very cool. And just to talk about what these topics were, you focused first on the history of the LGBTQ movement in San Francisco. And then, Andrew, you were also nominated for Focus, our mental health. What does it say about the depth of storytelling that's coming out of Montclair's program? Because they're serious about storytelling and video.
We produce a variety of amazing stories that I think connect with all ages. We do try to take a focus on Gen Z, our generation, to really bring them into the kind of topics that we feel they would resonate with. But yeah, we try to have a diverse set of stories, and we think that it's really great for all audiences.
I think and then Brandon too. We got to get you all in. Yeah, come on in. So we this is the group hug from Ken to you guys, just so that people know. We're in different locations. I occasionally get to be where they are in the Nutley studios, but we all do our different part of the show from different locations, so we don't get to physically see each other in person. But it's just nice to see you all in one place. You do so much work behind the scenes for us, and of course, you're still doing work as students do. I mean, the college stuff is amazing, difficult. And On the Edge, the San Francisco On the Edge, how did you bring all of the different stories together to make it one cohesive special?
Yeah, so it was one of those things where the way that the class works is we will take the first couple weeks and everybody's going to pitch a story. For instance, I was really passionate about the LGBTQ rights within the history of the city. Andrew worked on the fentanyl crisis, and Brandon, who's really interested in urban development, also would then work on homelessness. And so it was all just a matter of just having the opportunity to have a bunch of different people with a lot of different passions all kind of coming together and discovering what we love about this city. And then it was as simple as just making sure that we put in the same amount of effort into every single story that we do. One was not more important than the other. It was all just something we were all passionate about and was just really trying to paint a really great portrait. Yeah,
I was just going to say with Brandon, you talking about the homelessness. It is not an easy thing to balance making sure that the person who is the subject of your story that the story is told and that they retain their dignity, because you never want to make it look like, well, we're exploiting them by putting them on TV. You want to be able to tell their stories so that there's empathy, not exploitation. Did you find that it was a challenging balance to maintain?
That's a great question, because that was actually something I was worried about when we were like planning our story. Was, is it exploitative to show people a kind of, in some situations, are their worst spot in their lives? But the way we kind of structured our story, my co-producer Brian James and I, we decided to focus on people who were on the up and up. We talked to a mother who had an addiction problem, who had a newborn, but was now in temporary housing. And we also talked to people on the street who were firsthand dealing with homelessness, people in city government, like the president of the Board of Supervisors, and what the city's doing for them. And San Francisco has made several big leaps to solving that issue that unfortunately kind of comes up in the image of San Francisco when people think of the city, but they've made a lot of progress. And so our story was, I think, a little bit more hopeful than what we expected it to be. We thought it was going to be more kind of doom and gloom, but it was actually a really, I think, a positive story.
San Francisco, for those who have not been, it is one of the coolest, greatest cities in America, no matter what. I know it has its warts, it has its problems. Every city does, even little cities, but it is a fantastic city. It is one of the gems of America. So everybody, when you heard that the project was the winner on such a big stage, what did that feel like?
I have experience before. I would love to hear. Yeah, how did that feel like for you guys?
I was going to throw up. It didn't hit me what was happening until we walked into that theater at the Television Academy, and I'm sitting there, and me and Brian are squeezing each other's hands like, oh my goodness, this is insane. And then they call San Francisco, and so it's just like, oh, all right, I blacked out. I'm on stage now. So Andrew, how are you feeling?
When we found out that it was nominated, we were all on a pretty big phone call because we knew that it was going to come out that day.
Yeah.
And we were all I think we were all a little bit nervous but excited, and when that news hits, it's unreal. And like Brandon said, you don't really feel it until you're really there.
Yeah, and I know for me, when I had to give the speech, so I was like, oh man, all right, now I got to give the speech. But I can say this as a bit of a team leader. I just felt a lot of relief in a way, because that I knew that now my team was going to be able to be proud of themselves like they should have been. And we should have been whether we won or not, but it was also just such a great motivator. I felt motivated to continue. It's like, all right, I still got it. Our team still has it,
Like you're 90 years old. I love it.
Exactly.
I still got it.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, you got a lot of years ahead, and believe me, now that we celebrated you, get back to work. I'm kidding. Listen, we love you all. Thank you so much, and congratulations. Sean Thrunk, Andrew Cooper, Brandon Lang. Remember those names, winners of the College Television Awards, not once, but twice. Congratulations to you. Thank you for coming in so early. We know we don't usually get you in at 7 a.m., but we appreciate you as always.
Great. Thanks, Ken. Good to see you.
You bet you guys. Go have a good day. And when we come back, Governor Sherrill signed into law a bill that grants full practice authority to certain experienced advanced practice nurses in the Garden State. We will explain with our friends from AARP. Back in 2 minutes. Don't go away. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato at 8:46. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the Garden State forecast.
This weather is brought to you by Audio Nova, your hearing experts, serving all of New Jersey with 13 locations.
So still a little chilly, but a little better too.
Yeah, a little bit better. Warming up this afternoon, and then once that sun sets, the temperature drops very quickly, as it has been doing the last few evenings. The very dry air, it doesn't really allow for that warmth to linger into the evening hours like it does in the summertime when you have extra humidity. Nope, it's so dry that we see a quick warm up and a quick fall throughout this evening in terms of temperatures. We stay pretty dry over the next several days, though, even into the middle of the month through April 19th, looking quite average in terms of precip, but it's the warmth that is impressive through April 23rd. Look at that warmth moving eastward, where the core of it is down across the deep south, kind of on the higher end of the chart there, with above average temperatures forecast. But nevertheless, we stay dry into at least the next week. Tiny chance of rain later Friday night into early Saturday morning. Doesn't even show up here on the 7-day, but it's the warm weather that takes over beginning Monday, climbing into the upper 70s and staying 3 days in a row of 80 degrees or better. That will feel lovely. It's this warm southwesterly breeze that even at the shore points allows for those temperatures to warm, preventing any of that chilly sea breeze. So that's unusual to have 70s and even low 80s in April at the beaches. Just goes to show how warm that southwesterly breeze will be, Ken.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. And I will see you tonight at the Prudential Center in Newark. Thank you very much.
I'll see you there.
Check you out,
bet.
man. Thank you. 34 degrees right now in northern New Jersey, 33 degrees in Trenton. Now the AARP New Jersey Morning Minute, news, resources, and real-life help. Visit aarp.org. A recent piece of New Jersey legislation is meant to expand access to health care by empowering advanced practice nurses to play a larger role in patient care. Supporters say the bill could help address provider shortages and improve access, especially in underserved communities. To explain what this means is Winifred Quinn, advocacy volunteer with AARP. Good morning to you, Winifred.
Good morning, Ken. How are you today?
Wonderful, thank you. A little chilly, but that's okay. A few more days, Mike says, and we'll get some warmth.
Chilly.
So this was, I know nurse practitioners who were very concerned a few weeks ago because had Governor Sherrill not signed this bill, that would have meant that the whole idea of how a nurse practitioner can function as a primary care physician, if you will, would have changed. So talk about the advanced practice nurse bill and what would it change now, or what it is changing back, if you will.
Sure. So the state has about 19,000 nurse practitioners, and this law now will ensure that nurse practitioners who have 5,000 hours of clinical care within a contract with a physician would be able to have full practice authority after 5,000 hours in that contract. And that will immediately affect, I think, a couple of hundred of the state's nurse practitioners who provide both primary care, which is pretty widely defined in the legislation, and mental health services. So there will be primary care providers, not physicians, but providers, and mental health clinicians as well.
There you go.
Which will,
so these
right. And actually that will help improve access to care, primary care and mental health services for, I think the count was, the estimate was about 15,000 consumers. So patients would be able to continue to access the care that they've been accessing under the former executive order from Governor Murphy.
There is no way the healthcare system could sustain itself without nurse practitioners in the state of New Jersey and PAs helping doctors. There just aren't enough human beings as medical doctors to go around. And the idea here is when you have 5,000 clinical hours, you are very well trained on top of the years of education that these nurse practitioners receive. So when I hear people say they're just like doctors, yeah, they have the same training and the same experience. The laws are changing, and of course, the education is evolving. But thank God we have our nurse practitioners, because we couldn't function. We just couldn't. As you said, at least
Absolutely.
15,000 people would be without, that we know of. And it would be even worse. Right now, it takes months sometimes to get an appointment with a primary care somebody who could treat you, whether it be a nurse
That's right.
practitioner or medical doctor. So now this bill directly helps patients and improves access to care. Why
That's
is
right.
this issue so important in New Jersey, and why hasn't this legislation moved forward more quickly, you think?
So, well, the last time the law was updated was, I think, in 1995, and there was a compromise struck then. And over the last almost 20 years, a group of nursing organizations in the state have tried to improve it. And there's the political will, I guess, just wasn't there for either party to move it forward. And then when COVID struck 6 years ago, in this month, in April of 2020, Governor Murphy signed an executive order regarding the COVID emergency. And in that, he had the provision that all APNs in the state would have full practice authority. And so then the nursing organizations, and this time AARP New Jersey, in coalition together, were reaching out to both the new governor's office, Governor Sherrill, as well as all the legislative leaders, to underscore, hey, tens of thousands of patients have had direct access to the state's APNs over the last 6 years. Imagine what's going to happen when the original emergency order ends, executive order ends. And so I think the legislative leaders realized that not only would people suffer, but healthcare costs would go up, including for Medicaid, and that would impact the state budget. So I just think that a lot of factors were coming in together at the same time that moved the legislation forward as quickly as it did in this new legislative session.
Yeah, and this you briefly touched on Medicaid there. The impact on the healthcare shortages, but specifically healthcare shortages in underserved areas, and how these nurse practitioners help there. Talk about that.
So I don't have the data at my hands to say how many advanced practice nurses and clinical nurse specialists, who this includes, are serving in the state's rural and urban areas. But what I can say is that on February 9th, I was giving testimony, and I was at the same table as me. There were two nurses who also gave testimony, one who runs a federally qualified health center down in Camden County, and another nurse practitioner who's a psychiatric nurse practitioner. And they were both, their testimony was so powerful. The woman that's based in Camden was talking about the most vulnerable patients that she cares for, who had really been neglected in many ways. And it was her team that was able to finally provide these kids, mostly kids, who had been so vulnerable and abused, the care that they needed. And then the psychiatric nurse practitioner was talking about, she had 300 patients who, if this law didn't pass, those patients, who mostly were low income, were going to most likely be relying on the emergency room and other desperate kinds of programs of care, or not get care at all. And that's just one
horrifying.
psychiatric nurse practitioner.
There's just so much need, and what a specialty that is, psychiatric nurse practitioner. So a psychiatric nurse practitioner, for those who don't understand, versus a therapist, psychiatric nurse practitioner, like a psychiatrist, can prescribe medications, correct, for somebody who needs psychiatric care.
That's correct.
which is so needed. And yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry, Winifred.
Just like now the nurses with full practice, the nurse practitioners and the clinical nurse specialists, those who have been certified in prescriptive authority with those 5,000 hours now have full prescriptive authority to provide the full range of services to their clientele.
Amazing. How can people learn more or get involved if they support this effort?
Well, they can reach out to AARP New Jersey. They can reach out to the New Jersey State Nurses Association and the Society for Psychiatric Advanced Practice Nurses of New Jersey really did an excellent job leading the coalition in the last few months. They can also get in touch with that society.
Wonderful. Winifred Quinn, advocacy volunteer with AARP. So essential. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thanks for having us, Ken.
You bet. All right, that was taped yesterday with Winifred from AARP, one of the advocates. Just such an important thing. And thankfully, in New Jersey now we have Governor Sherrill who signed that into law so that we have nurse practitioners and advanced clinical practice nurses to help us out. It is 8:57. Meteorologist Mike Favetta says we'll have a few clouds this morning, especially in southern New Jersey. Then mostly sunny today, highs mid-50s. It will warm up in the next few days, we promise. And that is on New Jersey Mornings for your Thursday, April 9th, 2026. I'm Ken Rosato. Remember, you can stream us at onj.com, Roku, Fire TV News on Samsung TV Plus, Apple TV, YouTube, Facebook, X, on LACA, and now on FLA.com. And we're live on Substack, Rumble, Twitch, and Local Now. See you again tomorrow at 7.